What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and I know I'm having a great day, but the person who sent in this story certainly isn't, considering it's a story about how the time they were in the woods with their friends and ended up getting hunted. Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just gonna go out there and say that being stalked by some unknown predator through the woods is up there in my top 5 scariest things of all time. So as soon as I saw this story, I knew I was gonna have to share it with you guys. It's not every day we have a real Blair Life Witch Project or Blair Witch Project coming on. So I figured I would share it with you guys, and yeah, before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, or no joke, no scam, you're gonna get hunted in the woods by an unknown creature, and that's not very swag. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so the person who sent this in, we're gonna name Kevin for the rest of this video, and Kevin lived in a state in the Midwest. You know what, I'm just gonna say it. He lived in Arkansas, and I personally have never been to Arkansas, but one thing that I do know about it is that they do have these woods there that are relatively thick called the Ozarks. The only thing I know about it is that Netflix show with the money laundering, alright? But I do know that there is like this wilderness wooded area in Arkansas. And I guess Kevin was the type of guy who loved the outdoors. You know, he was always camping, always doing his best to be out there, laying underneath the stars with Bigfoot, gazing up at the beautifulness that is the cosmos. It wasn't uncommon for this dude and his friends to go camping in the woods. They had plenty of experience, and at no point had they ever really felt like unsafe in the woods before. Obviously, they had dealt with stuff that they didn't really know what was going on at the time, or they had seen wildlife, but they had never really been in a situation where they felt like they were really being threatened. They spent a bunch of time out here, is what they did every weekend, and you know, when you do something over and over again, you tend to have a lot of confidence doing it. You tend to not be that afraid. So one weekend, him and some friends decide to hike out into the woods and do some camping, as they usually do. And this time, when they're going into the woods and kind of walking through, the usual sounds of the woods, you know, like just birds, stuff moving, branches, leaves, all that stuff. For whatever reason, it is like eerily quiet. Eerily quiet to the point where everybody in the group is kind of looking at each other, giving each other nervous looks. And finally, Kevin says, "Am I the only one who thinks it's just like way too quiet?" And as soon as he says that, all of his other friends are like, "No, dude, I thought it was just me. I thought I was tripping. I knew something was off. It's so quiet. What's going on?" And so the group kind of stops as they're hiking into the woods, and they're kind of just trying to figure out what's going on. Is there something watching them? Is there like a predator nearby? Usually that's the type of stuff that makes the forest quiet down. If there's a mountain lion or something nearby, most stuff will be quiet because it just doesn't want to get eaten. So they're looking around, and sure enough, they can't find anything. But they still have this eerie feeling, dude. Kevin says it wasn't like they were being watched, but it was almost like it was silent, and in a weird way, he felt like in his gut, it was the woods' way of trying to warn them, which I know sounds pretty crazy because, like, woods aren't a sentient being. They can't be giving warnings, but just the eeriness of the situation, how quiet it was, not finding anything, gave everybody the heebie-jeebies. To the point where there were originally 4 people in this group that were going to go camping. 2 of them ended up turning around. Kevin and his friend, who I'll name Tony, ended up just deciding to keep camping. They weren't afraid. The other 2, though, were just like, "I've just got a bad feeling about this. I'm getting out of here." And listen, there's nothing wrong with that, bro. I feel like I would much rather have a bad feeling and leave and look like a baby than have a bad feeling and stay and something bad happen. Like, I'll take my chances. I trust my gut enough to not be that afraid of it in terms of, like, getting peer pressured. You know, I'm not afraid to trust my gut, is what I'm trying to say. But Kevin and Tony, against their better judgment and their friends leaving, decide that they're just going to keep camping because it obviously can't be that big of a deal and it'll just pass. So they keep hiking in, and they had this spot that was a little bit off the trail, like 200 feet off the trailhead. There was this little clearing, and that's where they would usually camp. So they go there, and this time when they walk into the clearing, the stuff from the other camps they set up is there. There's a fire pit and whatnot. But this time in the fire pit, it almost looks like the charred wood is a little bit fresher than the last time they had come camping. They had used this campsite most recently about a month ago, and it looked like some of the wood in the fire pit had been burned like this morning. It was incredibly fresh. And obviously that makes them a little bit uneasy, but camping isn't illegal. That's what they're doing. So they just decide to ignore it, hope that it was just somebody that had come by once, and they start setting up their camp. And as I said, I'm not an avid outdoorsman or anything. I don't think I'm like, you know, the cream of the crop. No way in hell am I making it more than a week if I'm lost in the middle of the woods. But one thing that I do gotta say to Kevin and Tony here is like, what were you thinking, dude? Call me crazy. If I start feeling like someone might be watching me in the woods, everything's creepy, nothing's going the way it's supposed to be going, and then I stumble upon a camp that's very clearly like been used recently but no one's nearby, yeah, no thank you, dude. I'll just come camping next weekend. It's just too many creepy things in a row. One of these things on their own is already pretty creepy, but like the fact that all of it's happening together, to me, is a sign to get out of the woods. But whatever, I guess this dude, Tony and Kevin, are just Shaggy and Scooby-Doo, or like, who's the Velma and Fred that always want to split up, and it's like, why would you do that? Stay together so the scary monster can't eat you. So whatever, they just decide to stay in the woods. They're a little bit freaked out, but they're setting up camp. And that's when the feeling gets even worse. This feeling of just it being quiet, a little bit of uneasiness, now becomes straight up, it feels like somebody is watching. It's still super bright out in the forest. It's not like it's nighttime, you know, they can still see. They can't see anyone looking at them, but they just can't shake this feeling that something or someone is out there staring at them. And that's a very specific feeling. I don't know if any of you guys have ever had the feeling like somebody's watching you, but like that's a very specific type of feeling that you can only like know if you felt it. And once you feel it, it doesn't really go away until somebody's no longer staring at you. And the longer it goes on, the more and more paranoid they're becoming because they're just feeling like something is watching them. So time is going by very slowly, but eventually it becomes dark out and they start kind of lighting a fire and doing their thing. And they still have the feeling of being watched, but they're really hoping it's just an animal or something because it's been there all day. They weren't able to see anything staring at them. And so Kevin and Tony sit down around the fire and they start kind of talking, telling stories back and forth. And as they're talking, telling stories back and forth, a rock flies over their heads behind their chairs and lands in the fire. And it wasn't a giant rock by any stretch of the imagination. It doesn't cause a problem. It doesn't like poof fire everywhere. But it was definitely big enough for them to know that somebody or something just threw a rock at their fire. So at that point, they're already on edge. They pop up, they take their flashlights, and they go behind them and just start shining it into the woods. And they don't see anything. There's no reflection of eyes. There's nothing. It's just dark. And at that point, they're really freaking out. They've already felt like they're being watched all day, and clearly there's something out there still watching them, and it's messing with them by, like, throwing rocks at them to make it know, like, oh, yeah, I'm here, I'm watching you, you know? So they decide to set up their chairs kind of around the fire in a way where one of them is going to be looking into that side, one of them is going to be looking into this side. So that way, if anything throws a rock or comes close, they'll see it. So they move their chairs around, and the way that this clearing is, it's, like, completely surrounded by trees on every side of it. So they're looking in two directions, but there's two more sides that are on the side of them that, you know, they can't really see that well. And those are the two sides that the rock didn't come from. Well, about 30 seconds later, after they move, a rock comes from one of the sides that they're not looking at and hits the fire. And here's the thing. The woods, obviously, like it's dark, it should be pretty easy to move around without being seen. But somebody being able to run like 50 feet silently in the dark woods without running, bumping into anything, being seen or heard at all, and then throwing a rock, means that this person clearly has a knack for moving around the woods without being detected, which is terrifying, and it also means that it's still watching them and it's just messing with them. So at that point, they're just freaking out. Another rock comes in, they get up, and they just decide to start packing up their camp. They're like, we're not staying here, I'm not putting up with this, and honestly, I don't blame them either. I would have been done the second I started like feeling like something was off in the forest, to be honest, especially when I felt like somebody was staring at me, watching me. But hey, if you want to make it to the point where creepy thing in the woods is throwing rocks at you, then to each their own, I guess. I really can't stop you. I'm just saying, I'm surprised you made it out of the woods. Alright guys, I'm going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. On screen now is actually an Xbox gift card. For those of you that don't know, I give away a gift card in every single video here on this channel as a way to say thank you to everyone that's subscribed with those notifications on. So if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss another video. I really appreciate it. If you are already somebody that's got notifications on, watches all the videos, then big thank you. I mucho appreciate it. Enjoy the gift card, and on that note, I'll shut up and get back to the video. Thank you. Anyways, they start packing up their camp as fast as humanly possible. They're not like making it very clean, they're not rolling stuff up nice, they're just trying to get out of there. And they're still feeling like they're being watched, but it's almost like once they start packing up, it stops throwing rocks at them, like it stops being angry, you know. So they're like, alright, let's get out of here. They get all their backpacks together and they start making their way back to the trail. And it's about a 200-foot walk through the woods. And whereas before they haven't heard footsteps or anything, as they start walking towards the trail, suddenly they start hearing footsteps behind them, as if something's following them. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in this situation, but if you've ever been walking with a friend when you think something's about to go down and you both hear footsteps, like, you know when you don't have to say anything, you don't have to breathe a word, you both just know that you need to run. Like, you just know that something's about to tickle your pickle, and not in a fun way, you just gotta sprint, just get out of there. Him and Tony just take off sprinting towards the trail. And when they do that, they hear the footsteps behind them start picking up pace. So they're just running through the woods in the dark. They're hitting branches. It's going into their face. Tony gets a big cut on his cheek from like a branch that just stabs him, but he just keeps running. They're just sprinting. They finally get back to the trail, the entire time hearing these footsteps on their back, probably about 15 feet back. And they both turn around and shine the light to try to like, finally, we're in a clearing. You can't hide. Who's there? And when they do it, they don't see any one thing, but they're shining their lights into the trees, and they see about 15 feet back where the lights were, this thing kind of like darting from tree to tree. And the way that they described it is like, it looks like a human, but like a naked human in the woods in the middle of the night. And so they're kind of watching it, and they just decide to get out of there. So they just start sprinting down the trail. And they had hiked maybe a mile or two down. So they're running a mile or two, and as they're doing this, they're hearing whatever is following them in the tree line to their left, about 15 feet in, just running alongside of them. And now it's making noises, almost like it's trying to like communicate with other stuff out here. And the noises that it's making are pretty like animalistic. It wasn't human noises or anything, but they're just sprinting. They don't want to try to figure out what it's trying to talk to. They don't want to try to figure out what it is. They're just dipping. So as they're sprinting, they're kind of not saying anything to each other. They're hearing all these noises around them. But one thing that keeps going through Kevin's mind is that, like, I don't want to die in the woods. I don't want to die in the woods. Like, out of every way to go, getting killed by a psychopath in the woods is up there among the absolute worst. Two young lovers going camping, a man with a hook for a hand. Like, it's just literally one of the most stereotypical ways to go of all time. And here he is being chased by something through the woods. So they're obviously being hunted. This thing has been stalking them all day. It was just like waiting till nightfall, I guess. That's horrifying. But finally, they start getting to the point where they can see the cars. And when they can see the cars in civilization, the road that the trail was on was relatively busy, so there was cars every minute or so. All of a sudden, whatever is following them stops. It's like the creature, whatever the hell had been following them, kind of knew that like they were back to the car, they were back to civilization, and its chance to strike was kind of gone now. Because they heard it kind of stop in the tree line and then start to move in deeper. It stopped going from like 15 feet into the tree line to like 20, 25 and kind of move back into the woods. And they're not stopping to try to figure out what's going on. They don't want to figure out where it's going. They don't know if it's going to get back up, if it's going to get a crossbow. They have no clue. So they keep sprinting to the car. They get in the car, they get in, they lock it, they get it going. They haven't said anything to each other. And then they just peel out. And for probably 20 minutes driving back towards the town, neither one of them says a single word. It is just dead silent in that car. And finally, as they're kind of getting back home, they just decided they were going to both crash at Kevin's house. Tony looks at him and he goes, "What the hell was that?" And they kind of look at each other and they finally start talking about it. And they're like, "Dude, I swear to God, that was like a naked person, but not, you know, a normal person, dead ass." They said it kind of looked like Gollum, like a mini thing kind of running between the trees, following them, throwing rocks at them. And it would make sense if it was like a really tiny creature, bro, because I don't know if I really believe in everything. If it was like a 7-foot Bigfoot that was jacked and could just rip your head off your body, it probably wouldn't have been like tossing rocks and being gentle. If it was some Gollum looking thing, like, it doesn't like its odds. I feel like I could beat the out of Gollum. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say that I would. If Gollum came at me and tried to take my ring, I would simply pick him up and punt him. I would punt him like Adam Vinatieri, bro. Pat McAfee, it'd be over. But sure enough, they're kind of talking and discussing it, and whatever it was, some little humanoid thing had been like following them, watching them all day, and then had hunted them out of the woods at night when they were trying to escape. I think the real lucky thing about this is when it started making noises trying to communicate with something that they didn't stick around to find out, bro. One golem I can take. Like 9 golems at one time all jumping me. It's over. It's over. It's just GG. Either way, though, to this day, they don't really know what they saw. They talked to their friends and stuff about it, and everybody thought that they were messing with them, trying to make it up, to try to look cooler because they went home and wanted to make them, like, feel bad. But it really did happen. He swears it happened. I got no reason to not believe him. And either way, it's a pretty good story. Being hunted by tiny humanoid creatures in the middle of Arkansas is a good story. Anyways, though, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really, really appreciate you taking a quick second to press the like button and comment down below. If you don't know what to comment down below, just comment the word woods down there. It really, really helps the video do better in the algorithm, gets me more views, and, you know, I like views, who doesn't? Other than that, if you really want to help out the channel, you can use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout, the best energy drink for gamers. And if you use my name in the code, ladies and gentlemen, you get a discount, I get something, everyone's a winner, we can all high five and dance with some G Fuel. And last but certainly not least, check out my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, in the description, and get yourself some of this fantastic merch that's on screen now. I mean, oh my god, look at it. Look at this and tell me any golem-like creature would ever want to hunt you if you were wearing such beautiful clothing. Realistically, though, guys, big thank you to everyone that subscribes and watches all the videos. You make my life dream come true, whatever, you know, the dream come true, make my life passion. I don't know the words I'm looking for. You guys know what I'm trying to say. And I really appreciate it. On that note, though, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'll see you guys next time. I'm out. Peace.